supposed to be terminated.
Some of the cost-cutting initiatives even quite literally led to deaths.
As it entered a tunnel, the train derailed.
And they must be exposed at every opportunity. $10 billion in annual profit, control over 80 of the Fortune 100 companies, and unparalleled influence over the world's most powerful governments. If I ask you to name the most powerful companies in the world, some names, right, would probably spring to mind. Pfizer, BlackRock, Berkshire Hathaway, even the Umbrella Corporation.
Commitment, honesty, integrity.
But what if I were to tell you that you're missing one? That there's another company just as powerful, just as big, and even more nefarious. One with which my very own team was actually lucky enough to spend some personal time.
Why should we actually believe that two representatives from McKinsey care about the well-being of the American worker?
I think you'll have to decide for yourself whether or not you want to take what we've shared today as helpful.
If that exchange seems a little confusing, you probably need a little backstory. Enter McKinsey and Company. Who are they? What do they do? The fact that most of us have to ask that question means that we are behind the eight ball in a big way in understanding the incredibly destructive impact that McKinsey and Company, remember that name, McKinsey and Company, has inflicted upon the American people. So to grasp this, let's start with the front, okay? The part that you probably have seen. Think of a storefront and stay with me here. A lot of it has been presented under this guise of consulting. That's a fun word. Anyone who spends time on social media has likely seen one of these day in the life videos from people in the consulting world, and it's thrust into your feed mercilessly without your consent.
In life as a consultant in New York City, here we go. Start my day off with a workout, getting ready, get a sandwich packed, pretty casual today for the office. This is the office. Again, not many people come in, but that's okay. A quick coffee break, snack break. Then went in this breakout room to kind of just get some work done. Pray for my posture, please. More snacks, now to a meeting room for a meeting to close the day out.
Now these videos are meant to romanticize the consulting, I'll keep doing this, consulting industry and attract applicants from the nation's top business schools. They want you to think that their consulting world is a lot like this. When in reality, the consulting world is more like this.
I don't ever do shit at work. I don't ever do shit at work.
Crap, sorry, wrong clip. I mean more like this.
Yeah, Bob is a consultant.
In a nutshell, consulting firms give advice and direction to companies focused entirely on maximizing shareholder profits. So that's the boring part. Really, at the end of the day, consulting firms are at best professionally useless and at worst and most likely actively destroying America or the country you live in. According to a former management consultant who spoke exclusively with our team here, the way it works is upper management will have a pet project they're afraid to back, so they hire a consulting firm to push said pet project. Consulting firms are then hired to give the client what they want at the end of the day. 90% of what consultants provide is information the business already knows. Consultants spend 50% of their time justifying their existence to clients, which means they aren't really doing anything 50% of the time, just a lot of waste and bloat. Now, some of you would say that that's a mischaracterization. Fair. So I would ask you, do these professional broads strike you as useless?
So our workforce is only becoming more diverse. Inclusion is only going to matter more. And so we really need our people leaders to lean into this. It feels like hard work sometimes, and moving cultures is hard work. A lot of times, though, moving sort of what I think of as like micro cultures, right? The culture on your team, the culture on a project, that can move a lot faster than people often think or than people sort of give it credit for. So showing up with a different set of behaviors and encouraging it in others can pretty quickly move the needle for any individual's experience.
The answer is yes. We'll go back to those two lovely ladies who happen to be partners for McKinsey in a little bit. But first, what exactly is McKinsey and Company? Why should you care? How does it affect you? All right. It's the world's top consulting firm. It was founded in 1926 by James O. McKinsey. It has 90 offices in 50 countries. It serves 80 of the Fortune 100 companies as well as national governments. That's important. We'll come back to that. $10 billion in annual profit. That's more than $1 million per hour. And key McKinsey and Company alumni include Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, Alphabet CEO, that means Google and YouTube, Sundar Pichai, gross, I threw up in my mouth a little bit, former Meta COO, Sheryl Sandberg, that's formerly Facebook, and everyone's favorite resident gay, Pete Buttigieg, Buttcake. So McKinsey and Company's client list is full of bad actors, domestic, foreign, private, and public. You remember Purdue Pharmaceuticals? The company who actually did play a role in the legitimate opioid epidemic in the 2000s. And I know that's a third rail, people have blown it out of proportion, but Purdue, OxyContin, right? There was a problem. McKinsey consulted Purdue on how to increase the sales of the OxyContin pill right in the middle of that epidemic. It was McKinsey who advised the company how to sell high-dose pills even after Purdue pleaded guilty to misleading regulators and doctors. Now, between 1999 and 2021, deaths involving opioid prescriptions. And this is important because I understand that the opioid epidemic, a lot of it, most of it has to do with street drugs. But opioid prescription deaths rose from less than 5,000 a year to more than 16,000 per year, which is why in 2021, McKinsey settled to pay nearly $600 million for their role in the epidemic.
That's a lot of nuts!
I don't want to focus on that so much as the fact that there's a huge conflict of interest. McKinsey not only advises these kinds of companies, but at the same time, the regulatory agencies that are supposed to be overseeing them. For example, they were advising Juul on how to sell vapes. You're an adult. If you want to use a Juul, fine. But they were also advising the FDA on how to regulate vaping and nicotine while collecting checks from both.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
And the part that really grinds my gears, or would if I was an early 19th century version of what we imagined a robot to be, is that McKinsey advises authoritarian foreign regimes and communist state-owned enterprises. An example, in 2016, McKinsey helped the Saudi government intimidate, arrest, and jail dissidents. McKinsey had prepared a 9-page report measuring the public perception of certain Saudi economic policies and cited 3 individuals who were driving much of the largely negative coverage on Twitter. A Saudi Arabia-based writer named Khalid al-Alkami, a dissident living in Canada, named Omar Abdulaziz, and an anonymous writer. After the report was created, al-Alkami, say that 3 times fast, was arrested, and Abdulaziz's brothers living in Saudi Arabia were put in prison. The anonymous Twitter channel was shut down. Abdulaziz also says that his brothers, friends, associates in Saudi Arabia have been arrested and tortured, including electrocution, waterboarding, and his younger brother may have even had his teeth pulled out. Now, if that doesn't do it, McKinsey has also worked with Chinese state-owned companies. Now, when I say